Hi friends, and welcome to another day of Crochet and Crime. My name is Hazy Baby and I welcome you to my channel. If you haven't been here before, please go check it out. I got heaps of cool crochet stuff while talking about crime. If you are on my YouTube channel, then please subscribe if you haven't already. I need to get those 1,000 followers so that I can do promos and stuff like that. So if you could please subscribe, that would be absolutely fantastic, and I would love you forever. Forever, ever. Forever, ever? Forever, ever? Yes, forever. So like I said, like and subscribe. Okay, so today is the 2nd of May, 2023, and we are talking about crime. Australian crime, to be specific. If you're on TikTok, then you will get a video a little bit later, and if you're on YouTube, then you get it right now. Alrighty, or okie dokie artichokey. We have another day of crochet and crime, and I am working on Lillian. Isn't she beautiful? Isn't she wonderful? And she is for a client who currently asked for a single-sized continuous blanket for her bed. And so if you would like to order a blanket, or if you would like to be the next person on the list, please write me a comment below and I will add you to my lovely list of peeps. I do realize this is slightly pink. I'm okay with it. It's a pinky purple. I like it. I think it'll match it. And that's the thing. It's just about what I think, basically, because I'm the artist and I'll do what I want. So let's get this cab off the rank. So a man has been cleared for a murder after the victim's skull fragments were found. So if I had to raise a guess, I would say that they have found him not guilty because the evidence clearly shows that he couldn't have been the murderer based on where they found the bone fragments. So let's have a wee gander, shall we? I'm just gonna put this on the floor. Yeet. Yeah, so a man's been found not guilty for murder by a judge after skull fragments linked to the man he was accused of killing more than a decade ago were found while he was on trial. So Bruce Anthony Koss was found not guilty in the New South Wales Supreme Court on Friday for murdering Darren Ross Willis, who went missing from Binjira near Tamworth. So in December of 2010. I was just deciding, sorry. I was just trying to decide. Alrighty, this is what happens when you just do things on the fly. So I think I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and then sets of 2, I think. Let me see what that looks like. 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Alrighty, so moving straight along. So, an inquest later found that he was likely to be dead. So, because he went missing, so they assumed that he was dead. Following reports to police from 2 men and recordings of intercepted telephone calls, Koss was charged with Willis's murder in October of 2019. So 9 years later. Koss pled not guilty in May of 2022 and was later linked to the missing person, like I said, via phone calls and other things like that. So his trial was adjourned because bone fragments were later linked to Willis were found at the base of a waterfall. So Justice Hammett, like I said, I thought it was because of where they found them. Said the case against Koss changed somewhat as a result of the findings, but it did not materially advance the Crown's case. So finding the bone fragments were helpful to figuring out what had happened to Koss, but they weren't helpful in convicting this man of his murder. So nor did the telephone calls or the conversations recorded. Cross denied involvement in everything, in Will's disappearance and in his death. And he adamantly denied it throughout the entire time that he was being blamed, basically, accused of murdering Willis. So the evidence of the two men alleging Koss was responsible contained inconsistencies and that evolved over time. So, including a trail that they could not expect the evidence beyond any reasonable doubt, the judge said, which is why the judge decided to throw the case out and say that he was not guilty because no one could prove that he was guilty. And because all of this was circumstantial anyway. So Koss sat on the dock wearing his jeans and a black t-shirt, leaning forward while listening as the judge detailed the reasons he was being discharged on the indictment. Oh, he must have been so happy. Edge of his seat stuff, especially if he didn't do anything wrong. So, yay, that's a feel-good story. I'm sad for Willis's family though, because now they even have even more questions than what they had before. So before they were questioning what happened to their loved one, and now, and whether he was still alive or not. Obviously he wasn't. And now they will be questioning, what is happening with that case. So, yeah, I do feel sorry for them, but I am happy that an innocent man wasn't sent to prison for a very long time. That would have sucked majorly. One, two, three, four, five, and then one around the top of that one. Like I said, because I just make this up as I go along, I just undo things until I'm happy with them. So this is the process that you guys don't normally see, because I've just been usually doing squares that don't involve a lot of me having to go backwards and forwards and undo things. And have to look backwards and forwards at what I've done on the previous corner. So like I said, this is a crochet and crime channel, so I will be stopping and talking about my crochet at the same time as talking about crime. So, and like I said, voila, that is that side done. So now that I know what I'm doing, I can move on to our next story. This next story is out of Melbourne, and a man has broken a woman's nose in an alleged random attack near Melbourne shopping centre. So they did this on yesterday, May 1st. So a woman told how she was allegedly punched in the face by a homeless man when she was walking to work in Melbourne's southeast in an unprovoked attack. So she was just walking to work, minding her own business, gonna work hard for the money, so hard for it, honey. She was gonna work hard for the money, and I don't know if it was day or night. Yeah. So Laura Gilchrist, 31, told 3AW Neil Mitchelson that she suffered from a broken nose and her eye swelled so much that she couldn't see it or open it. So see out of it or open it. Which is absolutely horrible. After she was attacked last Thursday. So it wasn't yesterday, it was last Thursday. They just reported it yesterday. She was walking near the intersection on High Street and William Street on her way to her Coburn Park shopping centre at about 8 a.m. So there you go, it was the daytime. And she was allegedly assaulted by a man who was walking in the opposite direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so instead of walking past her, he just came up to her, punched her in the face, and then just kept walking. She would not have been expecting that. I just like walked up to her, you know, lobbed her in the face and then pissed off. What an ass. So that's interesting, and a new fear unlocked. So random. Police arrested a 38-year-old man with no fixed place of abode the following day. So he was a homeless man. He has since been charged with recklessly causing injury and is due to appear in court this week. I'm saying it with such upward inflection because I can't believe that someone would just walk up to someone they didn't even know and who wasn't doing anything and just punch them square in the frickin' face. That's so extreme. And not provoked or anything. Just, you know, boom. K.O. That's horrible. Oh my girl, I'm so sad. I am sorry. I hope no one gets offended by my accents that I do. I literally do accents of every nationality. So please do not get upset. Do not get upsetty spaghetti. I just do accents because they are fun. And my voice is sometimes irritating and annoys me. Alrighty, let us move on, shall we? Sorry, I was just counting and then got distracted in a downward spiral of existentialism. So this one's not really a crime as much as it is just a missing person. It's not just a missing person, but you get my point. So there's a search in Melbourne for a man who's missing off the Victorian coast, and it's the third day that he's been missing. So the search continues for a 30-year-old man who vanished like a fart in the wind off the coast of Victoria on Sunday afternoon. So emergency services resumed the search for master's grad student Vin Nagen first thing this morning after he went missing off the beach on Gelbury 3 p.m. on Sunday. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just making sure that I'm actually matching these up because I don't want them to be mismatched. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Okie dokie, artichoke. So his friend Longdu also went missing in the 7-meter swell, but he was found dead on the rocks on the remote beach shortly after authorities arrived to search for them. So I think they're holding out hope that perhaps the grad student was a little bit of a stronger swimmer and made it through the rip, hopefully. Hopefully they'll find him. The pair were among a group of 5 friends from Melbourne's west who were camping at Gillibrad Lower when they decided to go fishing, apparently. The 3 managed to go out in the water uninjured after the group found themselves struggling against the current. Najin's girlfriend, Hahi, yesterday told 9 News that she was giving up hope for her boyfriend being found. I really do hope they find him. It's really important that we find him, she said. The pair only moved to Melbourne from Vietnam 4 years ago. Authorities have searched for him throughout the afternoon, pausing the search after dark because conditions are too dangerous and they don't want to put anyone else in danger, but they have not yet found him. And I really hope that he is just floating out there waiting to be found, although I highly doubt it that is the case. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so moving right along, 6 people have been injured after explosion in a factory in northern Victoria. As you can tell, a few of these stories are from Victoria today. Don't know why, just felt like reading the ones from Victoria perhaps. I needed a little bit of change. I am from Queensland, so I was just trying to get a different part. I've also got a couple of stories from Queensland today, a couple from New South Wales, and I've got a couple from overseas. So yeah, 6 people have been injured and 2 airlifted to hospital after an explosion at a recycling plant in northern Victoria. So firefighters were called to the factory at Goulburn Valley Highway in Shepparton's North at about 8 a.m. Hold on. Okay. Oh, wait. Was it that one? Yes. Missing 2. It's understood that 2 men have been flown to the Melbourne hospital with serious injuries. It's unknown if their injuries are life-threatening as of yet. 2 women had also suffered serious injuries and have been taken to the local Goulburn Valley Health, along with 2 other men who suffered minor injuries. It's understood that 6 patients, so all 6 patients, have suffered with burns. Emergency services remain at the scene, and we're hoping to see if it's actually a crime or just a mishap incident that has caused the explosion. So hopefully I will have an update for you guys on that one tomorrow. And yeah, so there were 2 really short ones from Victoria, and yeah, let us move on to another state, shall we? Nah, let's stay in Victoria. So a killer has been jailed after plunging a knife into the stomach of a vulnerable victim alone at a busy Melbourne beach. So within a split second of pulling the knife out of his bag, I am not even going to say his name because it's too hard for me to pronounce. Instead, I'm just going to call him Dung, because his last name sounds like Dung, and he's a dick. He's a dirty, dirty bastard for stabbing someone. He stabbed a 24-year-old man at a busy Melbourne beach. Why, you ask? Don't know. Felt like it, maybe? Who knows? We're about to find out. And I've lost my scissors. Oh no, there they are. Ta-da! I found them. Oh, these are very blunt. I need to sharpen them with some tinfoil. Alrighty. So he was drunk and armed near St Kilda foreshore after punching the man twice in a fight on October 27th, 2021. He fled after stabbing the man in the stomach and leaving him to bleed on the footpath. Dung, which I have now called him, had broken bail curfew to go to the beach that evening and was jailed for up to 7.5 years on Tuesday after pleading guilty to manslaughter. Yeah, so he stabbed him to death, guys. So he'd been at the victim had been at the beach alone when he was attacked, and an off-duty police officer found him bleeding in his stomach and tried to resuscitate him, but to no avail. He did not succeed in his attempts to resuscitate the victim. So unfortunately, that man succumbed to his injuries. So he told the officer at the scene that he couldn't breathe, and then he died the following day in hospital. It took police 9 days to find Dung, which is now his new name that I'm calling him. I just made it up just now. And Justice Mark Champion said the fact that Dung rang and that he was on bail and that he had a knife in his bag made his offending just all that more serious. And I kind of agree with him. In a split second, you stabbed him, he said. You chose to use a knife at the time when he was backing away from you and posed no further threat. He was alone and he was vulnerable, and you had a knife, which you used. His death sent shock waves through the community, the court was told, because he apparently was a very loved person. His family have fled from Sudan and believed Australia would provide better opportunities for their children. Paul's father continues to have nightmares over his son's death, understandably. And apparently Dung started crying carrying a knife, he reckons, for his own protection because he always felt alleviated his feelings of anxiety. His anxiety was not properly treated, and he experienced racism and family violence growing up. Being armed, anxious, and intoxicated opened him up to a considerable risk because being inebriated means you don't have good corpus callosum skills, no front cortex reasoning skills. So Dung was already serving 1 year and 4 months for his sentence, and he'll be eligible for parole in 5 years. So he only got 6.5 years for murdering somebody. Sorry, manslaughter. Whatever. I think it's second-degree murder, but whatever. He obviously intended to harm. So, yeah. Alrighty, so now this next story is out of New South Wales, and it is, sorry, it's out of Queensland. My bad. So party guests try and help a mum and daughter on the Gold Coast beach. So guests of a gender reveal party at a Queensland beach risked their lives to try and save a woman who drowned whilst helping her own daughter. So the 51-year-old mother and her teenage daughter got into trouble in a treacherous Froggies Beach swell on the Gold Coast nearby, where a party was being held on the beach for a gender reveal. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So they described via an interpreter what had happened because they didn't speak English. So Shahab Fahid, 31, who was at the party, rushed into the water to help, but had to end up having to be saved himself. So he told 9 News that he didn't think the conditions would be that dangerous and felt like his soul was going to leave his body as he struggled in the water. Paramedics rushed Fahad to the hospital in a serious condition. His sister, Maha, I'm terrible at names, I'm so sorry if I said these incorrectly, who was holding the party, said it was very stressful to see her brother get into trouble. Rescuers eventually managed to haul the 14-year-old girl to the shore, but sadly, her mother had died. Yeah, so the father of the gender reveal party said she died trying to rescue her own child. She said, please save my daughter. And so they tried to. Sorry, I'm about to burst into tears because I've got a 14-year-old and I would be, absolutely, that's what I would be too. Please save my daughter. I don't care about me. Oh, but I'm glad they were able to save the daughter, even if the mother died. Sad. But like I said, she'll be wherever she is, smiling down and thinking, there is some good humans in the world. There is some good humans in the world. Please be careful near beaches, guys, because literally you don't know what the water's going to be like. It's treacherous, and you could end up dying. It's no joke. The water is no joke. Alrighty, let us move on to another story. This time about crocodiles. So, again, to do with the water. Again, in Queensland. But yeah, police have dissected 2 euthanized crocodiles as they're searching for a missing Queensland fisherman continues. So, officials are searching for a missing fisherman in North Queensland. So, up my neck of the woods again. They will perform a necrotopsy, which is an autopsy on the crocodiles, to see which one may have killed him or if they did indeed kill him. Department of Environmental Wildlife Services last night located the crocs measuring 4.1 metres and 2.8 metres upstream from where Kevin Dormsty was last seen. So Dormdy, who is from Lara in northwest of Port Douglas, was fishing with a friend in the croc-infested Kennedy River when he mysteriously vanished. And a series of unusual sounds remained to be the only clue for what had happened. So basically, he got eaten, I think, is where the police are going with this, that he was eaten by the crocodiles. I mean, it's a rough way to go, that's for sure. Oh, I keep accidentally moving my crochet off camera. Nice. It might be a bit hard to do crochet and crime when you can't even see the crochet. So, yeah, his friend alerted police, describing hearing a splashing sound just before he disappeared. Queensland Police and officials are scheduled to conduct the autopsy, a version of an autopsy on an animal, of the two crocodiles this afternoon. In a police statement, they said the crocodiles are believed to be involved in the incident. They don't go around euthanizing big random crocs. They obviously have a educated reason why they feel that these crocodiles are responsible for the death of this person, or at least they're going to rule it out, I suppose. If the waters are croc infested, then yeah, good luck with that. So you should always be careful when you're fishing up here in North Queensland. Yeah, just be safe as you possibly can. I mean, fishing can be fun, can be exciting and stuff, but no one wants to end up croc dinner. That is for shizzle. For shizzle, no one wants to be croc dinner. Alrighty, let's move along. Police are prepared to deliver on the coroner's report a little bit later on this afternoon or tomorrow. The search for the 65-year-old publican and fishing enthusiast today, it has continued, so they're still looking for him. It's the fourth day, with chances of his survival, being quite... yeah, look, it's not likely. Police dive teams have been working in extreme dangerous waterways, and search rescue teams are combing the area. Speaking to reporters yesterday, Detective Acting Inspector Jason Shetman said it was obviously possible that Dormandy was drowned in the water by a big croc. It could have happened, and they'll basically eat anything, so yeah. Well, we're food to them. We be food. We are not in any way scary to them. And they'll just lay in wait. And yeah, they'd eat you for dinner. Probably dragged him under the water and drowned him. I'd hate to say that. And it be true, but it happens a lot. Especially how far north in Queensland he was. He was up past Cairns. Not quite the tip, but getting pretty close to it. So yeah, like I said, that's pretty heckers. And I don't like their chances of finding him alive. So he was last seen at 3:30 on Saturday in the national park, about 340 kilometres northwest of Cairns, and Queensland Police will update the search progress this afternoon. But like I said, I doubt that he is still in this world, if you will. Pretty sure it's safe to say he's probably not alive anymore. Alrighty. Look, I didn't say Australia wasn't scary. It is. There is definitely some scary parts about it. But it's still a beautiful country. Alrighty, moving along. Okay, so this one is an update on one that I was talking about the other day, about a man who has been charged with murder. But he'd already been charged with that same murder long ago, and here in Australia, under certain circumstances, the double jeopardy doesn't apply. Well, actually just doesn't apply to murder. If they find more evidence, they can always recharge somebody with murder, especially if they haven't been found guilty. I mean, if they've been found guilty, then yeah, there'd be no need. But if they've only been acquitted or whatever else for whatever reason, yes, they can definitely put in an application for a retrial or a new trial in this case. So a man who's been charged over a 2009 murder for the second time, like I said, has been granted bail. So Queensland's double jeopardy provisions have been enacted for only the second time in our history, after police reopened an investigation and charged the man again. So that's awesome. The man was acquitted for the murder, there you go, back by a jury. But police are seeking to have him retried, receiving fresh and compelling evidence last year in December of 2022. So armed with this new evidence, they would like to retrial him. And so they are going to get their wish. But not without consequences. So he has bail. So the man and the victim can't be identified under the double jeopardy, there we go, legal provisions. An application has been made by the Australian court to appeal a previously acquitted person to retry for the offence of murder. The Crown did not oppose bail in Brisbane Supreme Court on Tuesday, and the applicant applied for bail and circumstances were unusual to say the least, but he was granted bail. The man has been in custody since he surrendered himself to police last week, and due to that is the reason why they let him have bail. So he has committed not one offence since 2019 and has cooperated with police the entire time, has been willing to surrender his passport. He is maintaining his innocence, and he's been granted bail, saying that he was, because he didn't have any risk, basically, for committing further offences since he's been out since 2009 and has not committed even a traffic offence. So, but that doesn't mean he's not guilty of murdering someone. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. So, yeah, that was an update on that one, and we'll move along, shall we? Okay, this next story is out of Perth. So police hunt for a gang who wrecked a Perth shop in a crime spree but didn't take anything. They just went in and vandalised the crap out of this store for no bloody reason. Jesus, that whole sentence was probably the most Australian thing I've said in such a long time. But anyway, let's move on. So police in Perth are hunting for a gang accused of smash and grab rampage through the city's northern suburbs. So 9 businesses were targeted overnight as police investigate if the crew is linked to another crime wave. They were seen smashing plates and flipping tables at the Royal Taj Indian restaurant in Woodville. The owner, Ranik Khmer, called the footage senseless, which it kind of is. The trio also smashed their way through another 4 stores in Woodville Shopping Centre just after 2 a.m. Woody's Pizzas, Avoke Cafe, Woodvale Fish and Chips, Plush Taj Restaurant were all hit. All food places. What the flip? They were really upsetty spaghetti that they weren't open to get their takeaway, guys. That's why they didn't take anything. They're like, you for not being open at 2 o'clock in the morning. Apparently they're Irish Americans. But apparently, according to that accent, I have no idea what that was. Okay, the gang appeared to leave most of the places empty-handed, despite the cash and other valuables being within reach. So they didn't even take anything like that. 10 minutes after their initial rampage on the other side of the shopping centre, the doors to Ming's Bakery was kicked in, and 4 people were seen trashing that store before leaving with nothing. Moments later, they ran off, being spooked away by workers nearby. So I just don't understand. Were they only little kids? What the hell? So owner Sandy Martin said it made him feel sick and quite violated, which is fair. The damage is pretty intense and not what you want for a small business, especially after COVID. Come on. The rampage started at about 1:40 a.m. when the 3 masked offenders used a trolley to break into the Smoke Mart in Bledden. 5 minutes later, Coffee down the road was next targeted, followed by Chantilly Hare. Then they went to Woodsville, 4 kilometres away, where they continued their bulk rampage over there. So, you know, they went all hulky smash for no reason. They got all upsetty spaghetti, again, for no reason. Well, none that they have given. It's not like they hung around to tell anyone why they did it. They just had a huge tantrum and left. Damn, son. 1, 2, 3. Alrighty, let's move on, shall we? All these stories are nice and wrapped up today. I don't know why they're all really short ones, but I'm very happy for it. I'm here for it. I'm living for it. Okie dokie, so I have one more story from Australia, then one from New Zealand, and then one from America, I think. But yeah, and then that'll be it for us today. I'm so sorry. So a man has been charged with attempted murder after allegedly stabbing police officer in Brisbane. So just went on a little bit of a stabby rampage. So a man has been charged, like I said, with attempted murder after allegedly stabbing senior police officer in Brisbane's north this morning. The incident unfolded within a matter of seconds as police responded to a disturbance at the Jones Street address in Rothwell at about 9:25 a.m. The male senior constable was allegedly stabbed in the shoulder by a 30-year-old man armed with a knife after he attempted to jump into the police vehicle. So he was like, I don't know, he wanted to go for a drive. Take him for a drive already. Police say. Jesus. Police used the taser before they arrested him, and the 30-year-old man was taken to the hospital with a wound in his stomach. Officers who have been in the force for 16 years, the one who was stabbed, was taken to the hospital in a stable condition. So, that's very, very interesting. Police officers on the scene provided first aid before paramedics were involved, and Detective Inspector Ben Fadayan said the alleged attack unfolded immediately after police showed up. So he was already like pretty, upsetty spaghetti, and then police showed up and he was all stabby. He went from upsetty spaghetti to stabby. The senior constable remains in hospital in a stable condition and is expected to be released tomorrow. The man arrested was charged with 1 count of attempted murder, 1 count of serious assault to police while armed, and going armed so that he could cause fear and willful damage. He will appear before the Redcliffe Magistrate Court tomorrow via video link. Yep. I know, I've lived there. It's kind of scary. Sounds like it's getting scarier and scarier to live there. So let me move on to my next colour and my very last 2 stories for the day. I really hope my husband is listening to my channel today, because this story he gonna love. So my husband shares the same sort of interesting crime that I share, except he's always interested in like mafiosa crime and mob crime and stuff like that, where I'm more interested in the everyday Joe just losing their shit and having their cheese slide off their cracker and just going absolutely mental. A little bit of fun facts about my family and myself. My daughter is also into crime, but she loves hearing about drama. The more dramatic it is, the better it is. And my son, who's also into crime, he's not a criminal, he just likes crime like we do. He is interested in the sort of accidental crimes. So, wrong place, wrong time kind of crime. Wrong place, wrong time crime. So, husband, if you are listening, this story is for you. It's about El Chapo's son, who's been charged with smuggling cheap fentanyl into the US. So well done. So Sinaloa cartel boss Joaquin, or El Chapo, is serving a life sentence. His son steered the family's business into fentanyl, establishing a network of labs, churning out massive quantities apparently, of this cheap drug. So hold on, 1, 2, 3. I'm just deciding something. If you're wondering why I've gone silent for a minute, it's just because I'm deciding what I want to do with that. Yeah, that's what I want to do. Okay, so Guzman, that's how you say his name, Guzman. So, the deadly drug that has been smuggled into the US. So, prosecutors revealed in recent indictment, although Guzman's trial revolved around cocaine shipments, the case against his son exposes the inner workings of the cartel's underground and generational shift as it worked to manufacture the most potent fentanyl and sell it in the US at the lowest price. According to the indictment, according to an unsealed indictment on April 14th in Manhattan. So synthetic opioids, mostly fentanyl, now kill more Americans every day than those that died in Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan wars combined, feeding an argument among some politicians that the cartels should be branded terrorist organizations for prompting once unthinkable calls for the US military interventions across the border. So I don't know about that, but I definitely feel like we need to get drugs off the streets because it's killing people. Drugs are so bad. They're so bad. Yeah. Look, I've never been on drugs. And hopefully I never do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But I can't say. I'm going to do 10 or 11. Do I want an uneven number? 6, 9, 10. I'll do, 10. What does that look like? Yeah, okay. So the problem with fentanyl is that some people in the State Department said that it's been repositioned. So it's not a drug problem, it's a poisoning problem. And I agree, it is a poisoning problem because 1 milligram of fentanyl will kill, people, so many people. So very few people go out deliberately looking for fentanyl. So no one's going out looking for it, but it's mixed in with stuff. So they predict that fentanyl would probably become an issue in the next year's US elections, but he opposed any threat to the US intervention, saying, I don't think it would be a very good way to address the public's health issue by interjecting with the lab. So the groundwork in the US fentanyl epidemic laid more than 20 years ago with aggressive overprescribing of the synthetic opioid Oxycontin. However, making its own fentanyl is far more potent and versatile than heroin in small, easy concealed labs, and it just exploded. It became a game changer. So 1, 2, 3. And it did. It just became a game changer because they can make lots of fentanyl for very little price. And it kills people. So that's like super, super scary. So it's potent, it's cheap. You don't need big laboratories to make it. So I feel like if the government really wants to get rid of fentanyl off the streets, then it needs to regulate the suppliers of the ingredients that it takes to make fentanyl, if you will. Anyway, So they're nothing more than metal tubs that they use wooden paddles, even shovels, to mix the chemicals. A single cartel cook can press about 100,000 counterfeit pills every day to fool Americans into thinking that they're Xanax or Percocet or even Oxycontin, but it's not, it's fentanyl. These pills are then smuggled over the border by Guzman, which is the son, and sold on the streets to regular people who are looking for Xanax, Percocet, or Oxycontin. Fentanyl is so cheap to make that the cartel reaps massive profits, even wholesaling a drug at 50 cents per pill, prosecutor says. The drug's potency makes it particularly dangerous. The narcotic close to fentanyl is so close in lethal dose that a pill meant to ensure a high for the inhibited user can easily kill a less experienced person taking something that they didn't know was fentanyl. So, like, if you don't know it's fentanyl, you're going to take, like, maybe 1 or 2 tablets thinking that it's Xanax or Percocet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And killing you. 7, 8, 9, 10. And I still to this day have this comedian, and I can't remember who it was, but I'm sure you guys know who I'm talking about, and if you don't, then look it up. I'll just take my word for it. It was a comedian who said he finds it so funny that we're willing to take eckies out of someone's pocket, but we won't take a Panadol if the back of the the blister pack has been busted, but we'll take it from someone's pocket. And it's so true. It is ever so true that people are willing to take drugs from someone they don't know, and just take their word for it that it is the drug that they say that it is. And like I said, that is super scary, but also kind of comical. But yeah, like I said, weird. People are weird. But that's just my own personal opinion. And like I said, I'm full of opinions, so well done to me. So anyway, this Guzman has been arrested and hopefully he will face prosecution time. Yeah. And yeah, hopefully there will be some more updates on that. But basically he's been arrested and they're hoping that he will face a few years, just a few, for the smuggling of cheap fentanyl into the US. And let's move on to our very last story for the day. Alrighty, so this last one, like I said before, is out of New Zealand. And it's regarding a scumbag postal employee who has been stealing thousands of dollars worth of items from packages. So like I said, scumbag. I have no other word for it. That's all they are. Scumbag! So, a Maryborough teenager that hid his parcel in his locker while working at the New Zealand Post Depot has admitted to stealing thousands of dollars worth of items. So, a police summary fax said that Elijah Kerr, 19, was an employed by the New Zealand Post as a parcel sorter between November 2021 and August 2022. At approximately 4:46 a.m. on July 5th last year, Kerr was working at the Blenheim deposit on MacArthur Street when he picked up a parcel from the loading bin and carried it to the bench to examine its contents. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 and 10. He took the parcel containing a pet hair removal brush. Strange thing to steal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Valued at $32.50. To the staff area and placed it in his locker. Like I said, what a strange thing to steal. 1, 2, 3. So Sometime between July 1st and July 31st, Kerr used the same method to steal another parcel containing 9 watches with a total of $2,793. Maybe the dog brush was just his first little thefty and he was just seeing if he could get away with it. I don't know. He was testing the waters, if you will. I'm just making shit up now. But yeah, maybe. I don't know. So he stole $2,793 worth of watches, which were the property of Michael Hill Jewelers. Kerr said that he accepted the summary of the facts and told police that he stole 10 separate parcels during his time that he was employed at the depot, with the same method each time. The parcels included an iPhone 12, custom-made jewelry, and a handheld gaming device. The 19-year-old had no previous convictions, obviously because he was 19, and pled guilty to the charges of theft for over $1,000 and theft under $4,000 at Blenheim Court on Monday. They must have like a cutoff point for thefts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because I don't see how that's a specific charge. I don't know, because I am not a New Zealander. So his lawyer, Sarah Jane Jessup, said that she understands that quite a bit of items had been stolen, had been recovered, and sought reparations report to be completed before Kerr's sentencing. So she wants there to be a reparations report, which is fair. Police prosecutor Nick Cook said that New Zealand Post was in the process of determining who actually owned the items before New Zealand Post would obviously just transport their goods, he said. So they don't know what was in the packages. So, who would know what was in them? Kerr remained in bail and will appear back at court for sentencing on June 26th. So, yeah. So like I said, that last story was out of New Zealand. And I know I had a fair few different stories for you guys today, and I was a bit jumpy and all over the shop, but please forgive me. This is who I am. I do this channel for free, guys. I don't get paid to do it. It takes a lot of time, effort, energy, and on my part. I know that in the past I've heard people say, oh my god, all they do is just make YouTube channels. It's so easy. No, kudos and hats off to anyone who does a YouTube channel and anyone who tries to edit these videos and upload them and spending hours and hours and hours doing this as a job. I'm trying to get my small business off the ground, so if you could support me, I would very much appreciate that. If you can't, I totally get it. I understand. I am a jack of all trades, so I've got a few things going on at the moment. I'm a writer, I crochet, I talk about crime, and I sell crochet items as my art. So crochet and writing are my two mediums. Yeah, and I really hope that you enjoyed this content. If you do enjoy this content, please give me a like and a follow, and subscribe. If you would like to win a blanket, this one specifically, his name is Raymond. He is part of my crochet along group that I have over on TikTok. And if you would like to win him, all you have to do is subscribe, be one of the first 1,000 people who subscribe, and write a comment to this video or any other video, and I will add you to the list. And once we have 1,000 subscribers and Raymond is finished, I will draw that prize, and hopefully it will be you. So thank you very much for your time and effort today, and I shall see you guys tomorrow. Bye.